He once asked me to stop joking about cheating, but somehow on his birthday, I couldn't resist. It's strange how the cake, the one I thought would make him laugh, ended up being the only thing left untouched. Looking back now, I should have known better. But at the time, I honestly couldn't understand why he couldn't just laugh it off like before. My name's Sai. I'm 28. And this story goes back to 3 years into my marriage with Donovan. Donovan was good. Too good maybe. The kind of good that feels almost unreal when you're used to chaos. He was patient, attentive, gentle in ways that felt both comforting and unfamiliar. He'd make me breakfast on Sundays, leave little notes in my bag, remember anniversaries I'd forget, and love me with a steady kind of warmth that didn't ask for anything in return. And me? I was the sarcastic one. The teaser. The one who made jokes out of everything. Even when I shouldn't have. I thought humor was how people stayed close. I believed that if you couldn't laugh together, then maybe you weren't really in love. But over time, I didn't notice how my laughter started turning into tiny cuts. The kind that don't bleed at first but leave scars anyway. It began with little things. Once during dinner with friends I joked, "If I ever cheat, it'll be because Donovan takes an hour to pick a movie." Everyone laughed. I thought it was harmless. But under the table he pulled his hand away from mine. Another time, at a family barbecue, someone asked if I'd ever cheat. I quipped, "Only if someone richer and hotter shows up with a yacht." More laughter. More silence from him. Afterward he took me aside, calm, collected, but his eyes looked like someone had quietly dimmed the light inside them. "Suddy," he said softly. "Please don't make jokes about cheating anymore. I know you think it's funny, but it really hurts." I promised to stop. I really did. But I didn't understand the weight of what he was asking. To me they were just words. To him, they were cracks in something sacred. When his birthday came around he didn't ask for much. Just dinner at home, his favorite cake, and my attention. Simple things, the kind he always appreciated. I wanted to make it special. To make him laugh. I ordered his favorite chocolate cake and had the baker add a tiny sugar version of me kissing another man, with, "Hope you don't catch me cheating," written in icing. Even the baker hesitated. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. I laughed. "It's an inside joke," I said confidently. That evening, he came home with flowers, kissed my forehead, and smiled that quiet smile that always made me feel safe. We ate dinner, talked about small things. He laughed when I teased him about the food being too salty. Everything felt easy again. Then I brought out the cake. I expected him to laugh. But he didn't. He just stared at it, long and silent, until the air between us turned heavy. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft, but I could feel the hurt underneath. "I asked you not to do this again," he said. "I thought you understood." I tried to lighten the mood. "It's just a joke, Don. Don't be so serious." He stood up slowly, eyes never leaving mine. "You don't respect me, Sai. Not really. You keep making me the joke even when I tell you it hurts. That's not love." I scoffed, defensive. "It's just a cake." He shook his head. "No. It's a pattern." Then he picked up his jacket and keys, whispered, "I'm done," and walked out the door. The cake sat untouched on the table, mocking me with its perfect frosting and terrible meaning. At first, I was angry. I texted him, called him, left voicemails, but he didn't answer. I told myself he was being dramatic, that he'd cool off and come home. But the next morning, I got a message that made me stop breathing for a second. "I'm staying at Mark's for a while. Don't worry about me. Just think about how long you've made me feel like a joke." That one hit harder than I expected. For the first time, I actually saw it. The slow, quiet erosion of the love he'd been giving me for years. Every time I laughed at his pain, every time I brushed off his boundaries, every time I disguised cruelty as humor, I had chipped away at his faith in us. I never cheated, but I made him feel replaceable. And eventually he believed he was. A week later, I went to Mark's place, rehearsing apologies on the drive. I was nervous, hopeful, desperate to fix what I'd broken. Mark opened the door, not Donovan. He looked uncomfortable. "He's really hurt, Sai," he said gently. "He doesn't think you understand this time." Back home, the cake was still sitting there, its edges dry and crumbling. A quiet monument to how stupid I'd been. It wasn't funny anymore. It was a reminder of what I'd lost. Days turned into weeks. I wrote him a long letter. No jokes, no deflection, just honesty. I told him I was immature, that I'd hidden behind sarcasm because I didn't know how to be vulnerable. I told him he deserved someone who honored his feelings instead of making fun of them. He never replied. Then 6 months later, a single message appeared on my phone. I never wanted to stop loving you. You just made it too hard to stay. Now he's with someone else. She looks kind, soft-spoken, gentle, everything I wasn't. I see photos sometimes. He looks happy, and I hope she never jokes about leaving him, because I finally understand. Some people don't walk away because they stop caring. They leave because they've cared too long, and they can't bear to keep being hurt. If someone tells you that your words wound them, listen. Not everyone argues or shouts when they're in pain. Some people just quietly gather what's left of their heart, close the door, and never come back.